Okay, the 143 story Treehouse, Chapter 7, Fred the Ghostly Ghost. "Why are you shouting, Andy?" says Terry. "Because I'm trying to scare you," I say. "Pretty scary, huh?" "Not really," says Terry. "Ghosts aren't real. And even if they were, they wouldn't scare me." "Actually, ghosts are real," says the kind Scarecrow, "and they can be quite scary. Did I ever tell you the story of Fred the Ghostly Ghost?" Here we go. "I don't think so," says Terry, "but a story about a ghost called Fred doesn't sound very scary." "I can assure you it is," says the Scarecrow. "In fact, it's probably far too frightening to tell now when we're all alone out here in the woods in the dark." "I've never heard a ghost story," says Mary Lollypoppins, "but I'm sure I'd like it. I won't be scared." "Me neither," says Edward. "Robots don't get scared." "Please tell us about Fred," I say. "I'm not sure if I can," says the Scarecrow. "I'm a kind Scarecrow, and it wouldn't be kind to scare people with a spooky ghost story." But it would be kind to tell people a spooky ghost story if they really wanted you to, I say. "Especially if they said please," says Terry. "Please." "Pretty please," says Fancy Fish. "Pretty please with lollipops on top," says Mary. "And ice cream," says Edward. The Scarecrow shrugs. "All right," it says. "I'll tell you, but I'll try to make it a bit less scary." We all lean forward. I pass the torch and the Scarecrow begins speaking in a low voice. It was a dark and stormy night. Fried bananas. Bananas fried. Why did the owl say that? Terry gasps, his eyes wide. "Well," says the kind Scarecrow, noticing Terry's fright, "when I say dark, I mean dark. I don't mean dark. It was quite light, actually. In fact, to tell you the truth, it wasn't even night time. It was the middle of the day and there was no storm, just a light and pleasant summery breeze." "Oh, thank goodness," says Terry. "That was getting kind of scary. But where's Fred? When does he come into the story?" "Right now," says the Scarecrow. "One pleasant summer's day, Fred went to bed." "He went to bed in the middle of the day," says Pinchy. "That's weird." "Yes," says the Scarecrow. "Fred was weird, but he was also quite tired. He only intended to have a short nap, but when he got into bed, he bumped his head." "Did he bump it hard?" says Wanda, taking notes. She looks concerned. "No," says the Scarecrow quickly. "Not too hard, just a little bump." "I see," says Wanda. "And what happened next?" "Well," says the Scarecrow, "Fred slept all day and he slept all night and he couldn't get up in the morning." "Because he was still tired," says Edward. "No," says the Scarecrow. "Because he was dead." "Huh? Let's eat that man." The flies. Oh, yuck. Terry gasps. "Dead," he says. "But why?" "The doctors were uncertain," says the Scarecrow, "but they concluded that the most likely cause of death was the bump on the head." "But you said it was just a little bump," says Mary. "It was," says the Scarecrow, "but Fred had a very soft head." "How soft?" says Wanda. "Quite soft," says the Scarecrow. "So he died," says Terry. "I'm afraid so," says the Scarecrow. "He became a ghost." "Ooh, ooh," said Fred as he floated up into the air and out the window over the hills and far away. "How far away?" says Wanda. "Far, far away," says the Scarecrow. "Ooh." "That's quite a nice story," says Terry, "and not too scary at all. I love stories with happy endings." "So do I," says the Scarecrow, "but unfortunately, that isn't the end." "What happened after he became a ghost?" says Terry. "Well," says the Scarecrow, "then Fred was blown into the blades of a wind turbine." "Oh dear," says Fancy Fish. "Was he all right?" "Not really," says the Scarecrow. "He was chopped into lots of tiny pieces." Chop! "Blimey," says Pinchy. "Don't tell me he died again." "He did indeed," says the Scarecrow. "He double died." "But that would make him the ghost of a ghost," I say. "Is that even possible?" "Not only possible," says the Scarecrow, "but that's exactly what happened. And then it got even worse." "Ooh." Worse, says Terry. How? Because, says the Scarecrow, then the ghost of Fred's ghost was blown into a river, a big wet one, and drowned. Drowned to death. The ghost drowned, says Wanda. I'm afraid so, says the Scarecrow. Ghosts can do a lot of things, but they can't swim. Fred, the ghost of a ghost, became the ghost of a ghost of a ghost. And then, okay, thanks, Scarecrow, I say, stepping in before the ghost of a ghost of a ghost can become any scarier or any more confusing. I think that's enough spooky stories for one evening. It's probably time we all went to bed. Wait, says Terry. What's that noise? What noise, I say. That rustling noise, says Terry, in the woods. Listen. Rustle, rustle, rustle.